You are about to embark on a virtual journey to one of the most sacred places on earth.
In Jerusalem, there's a special church that means a lot to many people. It's believed to be where Jesus was crucified, buried, and resurrected. People from all over the world visit this church, looking to feel closer to these holy events. Even after many years and many changes, the church's main purpose, to remind people of Jesus' resurrection, has remained the same. Join us as we explore this sacred place where history and faith intertwine, showcasing the resilient spirit of the faithful ones. The power and mystery of the Holy Sepulchre. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, sitting at the center of Jerusalem's Old City, is incredibly important to many people. It's a place that marks the very heart of Christian faith and journey. Here, it is believed, is where Jesus Christ went through his crucifixion, was buried, and then came back to life. Known also as the Church of the Resurrection, it pulls in folks from every corner of the globe. They come to see and feel the mix of incredible stories and the holy history that wraps around Christianity. Going back to the 300s, a powerful leader named Emperor Constantine, who had just embraced Christianity, decided to build a special church right over the spot known as Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified. This original church, set up in the year 335, was meant to honor and remember Christ's resurrection, something very dear to Christians. Over many years, this building has seen a lot of changes and fixes, showing the often stormy past of Jerusalem. Yet, through all this, its main purpose hasn't shifted. It stands as a strong reminder of Jesus' resurrection, a key moment for Christians everywhere. Nowadays, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is a patchwork of different chapels and holy areas, each telling a part of Jesus' suffering and death. When you walk in, you can't miss certain special spots. There's the aedicule, holding what's thought to be Jesus' grave, and the stone of anointing, where they say Jesus' body was prepared for burial. The place covers the last part of Jesus' path, known as the Via Dolorosa, leading his followers through the last steps he took in life. The church's design shows a mix of styles, a nod to the various Christian groups that have looked after it through time. The big groups in charge are the Roman Catholic, Greek Orthodox, and Armenian Apostolic churches. Each group has its own roles and tasks in keeping the church and its traditions going. Around this old church, stories of wonders and heavenly acts are plentiful. These stories invite both those firm in faith and those unsure to take a moment, reflect on the extraordinary life and resurrection of Jesus Christ, which is a foundational belief in Christianity. This belief is said to go beyond the normal limits of heaven, earth, and even what lies below. The way people talk about this place can get really passionate, urging everyone to rethink their lives and come together in worship. It's a call that moves between the joy of divine love and the serious reminder of wrongdoing. Let's take a closer look, going beyond the passionate prayers and the overly sweet promises of being saved. The Church of the Holy Sealer, wrapped in mystery, has become a place where incredible stories seem to grow. These tales, filled with wonder and a bit of excitement, talk about recent scientific studies of what's thought to be Christ's burial spot. These studies tell stories of unusual smells and strange electrical effects that don't seem to make sense. While these tales grab our attention, they walk a thin line between seeming like real miracles and just being exaggerated stories, between true amazement and a show put on for effect. The odd happenings, both the smells and the electrical issues, found during the tomb's examination, spark both curiosity and skepticism. These stories, sprinkled with hints of being backed by science, aim to intrigue those who believe and challenge those who doubt. However, they also show the clash between the mysteries of faith and the demanding questions of science. The described sweet smell, which reminds some of the scents reported in visions of Mary and the saints, and the way scientific tools stop working when they're near the tombstone, tell a story that flips between thinking it's a sign from above and suspecting it's just part of the religious show. This story builds up to the yearly event of the Holy Fire. This event, happening regularly and with a long history, draws both awe and analysis. It serves as a powerful example of tradition, a ceremony that connects a community of believers through a shared feeling of amazement and dedication. Yet, underneath this respected tradition, there are questions about what miracles mean today, how faith and science intersect, and how people long for signs and wonders. In the dim corners of the Church of the Holy Sealer, where stories and history mix, it's hard to tell the sacred from the ordinary. This church keeps drawing people in because it represents the complex nature of faith in a world that's always looking for and questioning miracles. Enter the mystery of a sacred light that defies explanation. The Holy Fire's secret. Is it real? In the heart of Jerusalem, inside the old and mysterious Church of the Holy Sealer, there's an event that really makes you think about the line between a miracle from God and a tradition that has been followed for hundreds of years. This event is known as the Holy Fire. It's said to be a miraculous light that appears on the stone where, according to stories, Jesus was laid after he died on the cross. This event, with its flames that don't seem to burn like normal fire and a light that moves in a way that looks like it's from another world, has been making people wonder and debate for a very long time. It's a sight that brings people together, whether they fully believe or are a bit skeptical. This incredible scene starts on Holy Friday. People gather early, full of excitement and hope to see something that they believe is a sign from heaven. They fill the church, singing old hymns that date back to times when they could only worship in secret. The sound of drums and the sight of people moving in a dance around the church's sacred center add to the anticipation of witnessing something truly out of the ordinary. However, the atmosphere shifts as everything goes quiet, and a group representing the local government arrives. Their job is to seal the tomb, which is part of the ritual, but also reminds everyone of the complex relationship between religious beliefs and political authority. They check the tomb carefully, making sure there's no trick involved, which adds a bit of drama and doubt to the whole event. Patriarch Diodorus has shared stories about the Holy Fire that sound almost too amazing to be true. He talks about a light that behaves in ways no one can explain, creating a glow that doesn't seem to belong to this world. According to him, this fire has been close to his face for 16 years without ever burning his beard. This part of his story makes you wonder if there's something truly special about this fire. Let's expand on this scene to fully capture its essence and the mood it evokes. Imagine, each year, crowds flocking together, hearts brimming with excitement and eyes wide with amazement, eagerly awaiting the emergence of the holy light. The air is alive with chants and prayers, melodies that weave through the crowd, soaring up as if to touch the skies themselves. As anticipation builds, a shared silence envelops the gathering, a moment of collective suspense as everyone waits for a sign. Suddenly, the light breaks through, marking the beginning of something miraculous. A gentle mist rises, enveloping everyone in a blanket of peace and awe. The light shifts in color, moving around the sacred stone in a dance that makes it seem as if the very essence of possibility is in the air. This light doesn't just illuminate, it seems to touch the soul of every person present, connecting with them on a profound level. The warmth from this fire is soft and comforting, like a gentle reassurance that something good and kind is present. People reach out, longing to touch the flame, to feel its comforting warmth, to be a part of this communal moment of connection. As the flame passes from hand to hand, there's an undeniable sense of unity, a shared feeling that's hard to put into words. However, there's a layer here that invites scrutiny. The excitement that erupts as the light is shared, the way candles light up in the hands of the faithful. These moments create a charged atmosphere, one filled with belief and expectation. This environment blurs the lines between what's considered a divine act and the power of people's collective faith and anticipation. The Holy Fire event, with its annual recurrence, brings together deep religious devotion, centuries of tradition, and a communal sense of waiting for something extraordinary. It represents the intricate dance between the tangible and the mystical, the seen and the felt, drawing in both those who believe without question and those who watch with a skeptical eye. It challenges us to think about the role of miracles in a world where the spiritual and the everyday are closely intertwined. See what happens when unexplained events challenge what we believe. The strange happenings at the Holy Sepulchre. Inside the Church of the Holy Sealer, a place filled with both reverence and debate, there's a story that grabs the attention of both those who visit as pilgrims and those who might doubt. This story talks about oil lamps that light up on their own, a mysterious blue flame that moves freely across the old stones, and candles that seem to light up by some unseen force. People who have seen these things happen sign their names to their stories, saying these experiences have changed them because they believe they've touched something heavenly. However, not everyone is convinced. Some people think that in a place as important to faith as this church, it's easy for the lines between belief and the excitement of being in a crowd to get mixed up. The idea of flames lighting up by themselves is fascinating, but it also makes people ask hard questions about miracles. They wonder if these events are truly acts of God or just something that happens because everyone there is expecting something miraculous to happen. The Church of the Holy Sealer is thought to be at the heart of Christianity's most important events, where Jesus was crucified, buried, and came back to life. It stands as a powerful symbol of faith, but it also faces questions, not just about what people believe happens there spiritually, but also about its place in history. Some people aren't sure if this is really where Jesus' story happened, even though it's been honored as such for a very long time. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem is not just a historical and spiritual landmark, it's also a living example of how different Christian groups can share a holy place. This special arrangement is known as the status quo, which started in 1852 when the area was under the control of the Ottoman Empire. This agreement doesn't rely on written documents, but on a mutual understanding that allows 6 Christian traditions: the Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic, Armenian Apostolic, Coptic Orthodox, Ethiopian Orthodox, and Syriac Orthodox churches, to each look after parts of the church and hold their unique services. However, if any changes need to be made to the church's structure or the common areas, all 6 groups have to agree before anything can be done. Working together in this way has its ups and downs. While it shows a commitment to keeping the church a sacred place for all, disagreements and tensions have surfaced over the years. Despite these challenges, the shared care of the church brings to light curious traditions, like a ladder that's been left in the same spot for months, and specific candles that can only be lit by their owners, showing just how intricate this shared management is. The status quo rule isn't limited to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It extends to other holy sites in Jerusalem and Bethlehem, helping to keep peace among the different religious communities. Even with its difficulties, this arrangement has kept the church as a key place for worship and pilgrimage, attracting millions from around the world every year who come to connect with its deep religious history and significance. A cedar wood ladder standing beneath a window at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre has become a well-known emblem of the status quo agreement, emphasizing the rule that no alterations can be made without everyone agreeing. This ladder, which has been there since 1728, shows how serious the churches are about not changing anything unless they all agree. It's thought the ladder was left by a worker a long time ago, and it stayed in the same spot for almost 300 years to avoid any arguments between the different Christian groups who share the church. The story of the Church of the Holy Sealer, Sepulchre, itself is fascinating, blending deep faith with a rich history. It's said that the church was first built in the 300s by the Emperor of Rome, Constantine, right after Christianity became an accepted religion. The site for the church was chosen because Constantine's mother, Helena, supposedly found the cross Jesus was crucified on and his tomb there, a place that had been a pagan temple before. So, they built the church, originally named the Church of the Anastasis, which means resurrection, to honor these sacred discoveries. Over hundreds of years, this church has seen a lot, like earthquakes, fires, and wars, showing the strength and lasting belief of Christians. It was even destroyed once and then rebuilt, showing just how important it is to people. But even with all its spiritual importance, the church is also at the center of a lot of debates and complicated church politics. There are so many stories about its beginnings, the amazing things that happened there, and how it's run, all mixing together the efforts of people with the touch of something divine. Go back to a turning point that reshaped Jerusalem's holy places. The year Jesus renewed everything in Jerusalem. In 1009, a big change swept through the Middle East, a place of endless deserts and ever-changing rulers. The leader of the Fatimid Caliphate decided to drastically change many cities, including Jerusalem. This wasn't just about the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, but was part of a bigger plan that targeted many religious places belonging to Jews and Christians. This started a rough time for the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, leading to its destruction and later rebuilding, showing the strong faith of the people connected to it. Al-Hakim was a ruler in Egypt around 1,000 years ago and led the Fatimid dynasty. He's remembered for being very strict with people who didn't follow Islam, including Christians and Jews. From the time he became ruler in 996, he introduced major changes that deeply affected the religious groups in his empire. He didn't just focus on Christian religious places. Jewish synagogues and their sacred Torah scrolls were also targeted. His aim was to significantly alter the religious landscape of his lands, extending his efforts all the way to Syria. During al-Hakim's time as ruler, he was known for being both very harsh and somewhat kind. He forced Christians and Jews to wear items that clearly marked them as different, which was part of a broader pattern of persecution. But there were moments when he showed kindness, like giving out food during times of shortage and supporting the building of mosques. Despite these good deeds, his religious policies were unpredictable and impacted many, including Sunni Muslims. At one stage, he even encouraged beliefs that he was divine, leading to the start of the Druze faith. In Europe, the news of al-Hakim destroying the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and other religious sites caused a big shock. It led to Pope Sergius IV calling for a fight against Muslims in the Middle East and the removal of Muslims from the Holy Land. These actions were remembered when the Crusades started, almost 100 years later, which were complex military campaigns influenced by both political and religious motivations. Why al-Hakim acted this way is still discussed by historians. Some think he was trying to ease dissatisfaction among his people, caused by his father's more accepting attitude towards non-Muslims. Others feel he was reacting to external threats or trying to show he wasn't biased towards Christians because of his Christian mother. Some explanations focus on his role as a Muslim leader enforcing religious morals, while others consider he might have been struggling with mental health issues. In Europe, people were shocked by what was happening. The Pope at the time called for a fight against Muslims in the Middle East and wanted them out of the Holy Land. Though the Crusades started much later, the memory of what happened to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre stayed with Christians and helped spark the call for the Crusades by another pope. The reasons behind al-Hakim's actions are still debated. Some think he was trying to keep his people happy, while others think he was following his interpretation of Muslim leadership. There are even guesses about his mental health and whether he wanted to prove he wasn't biased toward Christians because of his Christian mother. Later, he allowed Christians and Jews to go back to their religious practices, showing a time of more tolerance until he mysteriously disappeared. Over time, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre has been rebuilt and updated, even in 2022, to keep its old charm while facing the modern world. But the story gets more interesting with other places claiming to be where Jesus was buried. like the Talpiot tomb found in the 1980s, with a name that sounded like it could be Jesus. Scholars quickly said it was probably just someone with the same name from a rich family, so it didn't change much. Another place, the Garden Tomb outside Jerusalem's walls, has caught the attention of many people despite questions about its timeline and location. It's become an important place for worship, even though many think the real place of Jesus' burial and resurrection is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The search for the true location picked up in the 19th century, with some Protestants doubting the traditional spots in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Scholars suggested other places that match the Bible's descriptions better, away from the disputes surrounding the church. They were looking for a place that felt more like the real story from the Bible. The Garden Tomb was officially recognized and its grounds purchased in 1894 by the Garden Tomb Jerusalem Association, a charitable trust based in the United Kingdom. This interdenominational group was united by the message of Jesus Christ's death, burial, and resurrection. The association, supported by volunteers from around the globe, including local Palestinians and Israelis, maintains the site as a place of worship, prayer, and reflection. The presence of an ancient wine press and tomb within the garden lends some archaeological support to its claims, aligning with biblical accounts of Jesus' burial in a garden near Golgotha. Today, many experts, including the well-respected Israeli archaeologist Dan Bahat, agree that the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is likely the real place where events from the Bible happened. They point out that back when Jesus was alive, this place was outside the city walls, which fits the story of where his crucifixion and burial could have happened. Even with other places claiming to be where Jesus' story ended, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre has been the most honored spot for more than 1,600 years. Its importance comes from clues in the Bible and discoveries from digging around the area, which show it was outside Jerusalem's old walls. This detail is important because people back then usually buried their dead outside the city. This bit of history, along with what archaeologists have found, makes a strong case for the church, blending belief with historical evidence. As we look at all these different claims and what scholars say, it's like being reminded of a warning from St. Matthew in the Bible about not being misled by those claiming to know the truth. This warning is especially relevant when trying to figure out the real story of Jesus among various claims of where he was buried and came back to life. Then there's the famous ladder at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This simple wooden ladder, just sitting there against the church's wall, has become a symbol of how complicated and divided people can get over their beliefs. This ladder shows how small disagreements can turn into big arguments, reflecting the broader challenges and divisions within Christianity. It's like a quiet message about the problems of being too stubborn or proud. Dive into a story where ancient beliefs and shared care shape a sacred space. The church that stood the test of time. Located in the heart of Jerusalem's Old City, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, also known as the Church of the Resurrection, is a testament to the rich tapestry of faith, history, and the complexity of human relationships that have evolved over centuries. Founded in the 4th century by Emperor Constantine the Great, this majestic building has been a place of worship, a source of conflict, and a site of mutual existence for its many caretakers. This church is central to Christian beliefs, as it is said to house both the site of Jesus' crucifixion, known as Golgotha, and his tomb, where he is believed to have been resurrected. These two aspects make the church a key destination for pilgrims from around the globe seeking to connect with these sacred events. In the heart of Jerusalem, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre stands as a significant spot for Christians, demonstrating an unusual way of management known as the status quo. This system, established during the Ottoman Empire's control in the mid-1800s, arranges for 6 Christian groups to share the care of this sacred church. These groups are the Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic, Armenian Apostolic, Coptic Orthodox, Ethiopian Orthodox, and Syriac Orthodox churches. Each group is responsible for different sections of the church and holds their own religious rituals there. But if there's any need to modify the church's layout or its communal areas, all these groups must agree unanimously. This special agreement doesn't just cover the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, but also includes 9 other religious sites in Jerusalem and Bethlehem. It deals with disputes not only between the Christian groups themselves, but also with issues that arise between Christians, Muslims, and Jews over these holy spaces. The main goal is to keep everything as it is, making sure any changes get the nod from all involved parties. A well-known symbol of this agreement is what's called the immovable ladder, resting under a window of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This ladder, made of Lebanon cedar, has been in place since at least 1728 and has barely been moved since the status quo began in 1757. This is because the agreement says that no single church can change, move, or rearrange anything without getting approval from the rest. The ladder, then, isn't just a ladder. It's a representation of the careful balance and occasional tensions that come with jointly taking care of such an important church. Even though these groups share the common aim of venerating this holy site, their history together has been punctuated with moments of tension and disagreement. These range from who has the duty to clean certain parts of the church to more serious arguments that have led to physical altercations, reflecting the fragile balance of shared guardianship. However, when it comes to major repairs or restoration work, these denominations have shown they can put aside their differences for the greater good of preserving the church. Interestingly, the keys to the church are held by 2 Muslim families, the Nusaybe and Judah families, in a tradition that spans centuries. This arrangement serves as a powerful example of interfaith respect and cooperation. However, this harmony is sometimes disrupted by conflicts that can escalate dramatically, as seen in instances where monks from different denominations have come to blows over minor territorial disputes within the church. These confrontations starkly contrast with the church's mission of promoting peace and understanding. The job of opening and closing the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is given to 2 Muslim families, the Nusaybes and the Judahs. This unique situation highlights the church's long and complicated history, showing how efforts to keep the place sacred can sometimes lead to unexpected arrangements. Despite the difficulties and disagreements among its keepers, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre continues to attract millions of visitors. People come from all over the world, drawn by the chance to be close to where significant events in Christianity took place. They seek peace and a chance to touch the deep mysteries of faith that the church represents, from its rituals and holy objects like the stone of anointing and the tomb where Jesus is believed to have been buried. A project to restore the church's tomb area not too long ago showed that even with their differences, the Christian groups looking after the church could work together for something important. The restoration included putting in a new marble slab over the tomb and adding protective glass, which symbolizes how the church is kept, somewhat seen but also hidden by traditions, disputes, and the need to keep it safe. People visiting the church are asked to show respect by dressing appropriately and not eating or drinking inside, recognizing it as a place still used for worship. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, with its mix of faith, history, and human quirks, stands as proof of how religion can both bring people together and push them apart. It's a place that makes visitors think about more than just spiritual beliefs. It prompts reflection on how people interact with each other and strive for a connection with something greater in a world full of divisions. Love history and faith? Click like and subscribe for more cool stories. Share your thoughts down below. See you later.